It is a sport like no other. These boats, these hydroplanes, are 3 tons of metal and fiberglass, true modern engineering marvels, hurtling 200 miles an hour, sometimes just inches from their competitors. For even the best, it's a fight to maintain control. At times, the only contact with the water, a thin strip of metal that propels the boat forward as the boat hydroplanes. The drivers are a breed apart, literally taking their life in their own hands as they battle each other, their boats, and the water. No 2 races are alike. The water and the weather make sure of that. The margin of error is small. Hit the start line just 1 second early, you'll be penalized, and you simply can't win the race. Hit the line just 1 second late, and you may never catch up. The race to the first turn is tight, with boats reaching speeds of 140 miles an hour, side by side, in tight turns as they try to gain the lead and sprint down the backstretch. Get caught in the spray, and it may cost you the race. Push too hard, and you may pay the price. Make no mistake, this is a dangerous sport. 15 drivers have lost their lives, but none since safety improvements were made more than a decade ago. But the risk, the danger, is always there. But along with the danger, there is a simple beauty in man and machine testing the boundaries of science and sport. A combination of engineering and energy as these boats glide across the water, throwing out 30-foot rooster tails of water in their wake. In the early days of hydroplanes, many boats were owned by cities and towns. Today, there remains just one, the U6 Oh Boy Oberto, owned by the city of Madison, Indiana.
It's been a labor of love for a number of volunteers throughout the years to support our city and support the sport. It turned out in the early 60s, people thought this was a unique way to promote.
Team Madison has been on the water 52 years. Oh Boy Oberto has been on board the last 12 as a sponsor.
It is unique in that the community owns it. There are no taxes that support it. They have to raise all their own money to run this program, and that's where Oh Boy Oberto came on board with us in 2000. Ever since then, we won 5 drivers' titles and 3 national championships. It's just been a dream come true.
Here's how it works. The city owns the boat. The mayor of Madison appoints a board of directors, who in turn appoints the team manager and crew chief. The rest of the team is made up of volunteers. In a special ceremony, the team leases the boat from the city each year for $1.
Kind of David versus Goliath. You got a boat down there that's sponsored by a country with a ton of oil, and then you got us with 13,000 citizens in little blue-collar Madison, Indiana. And so when we beat them, it is really pretty cool. It just doesn't get any more red, white, and blue.
The small town connection is why the U6 is a fan favorite wherever it goes.
It's the passion and history of a very quaint and proud city.
We're Midwestern people that just enjoy the whole event, what really boat racing is all about.
Since it was donated to the city of Madison, Indiana in the 1960s, the community-owned Miss Madison Unlimited Hydroplane has inspired generations of passionate and loyal race fans. But it's also the passion from within the organization
How you kids doing?
that fuels this 3-time national championship team, racing as the familiar red, white, and green Oh Boy Oberto for the past decade.
My dad's only missed 2 seafair races in his entire life. So he truly is passionate about the sport, and it's a way for him to give back to the community. And let's face it, he gets his little hat on and he wears his little monkey suit and he goes out and he wants to talk to all the fans. And I don't think corporate America can personally touch the individual the way my dad Oberto does.
It was during the 2000 race season here in the Tri-Cities that a one-race sponsorship deal changed the fortunes of 2 of unlimited hydroplane racing's storied yet struggling teams.
A one-race deal's turned into 12 years. And if you look at Miss Madison starting in '62, Oberto started in '75, and independently, we've had mediocre success. We've been the laughing stock. We've been the boat that just couldn't do it. We've won a few races. Madison won a couple races. Combined, we've built 3 national championships, 5 driver championships, and the 80 years of combined experience has taken 2 partial teams and made one great one. So it's cool to be able to work to build something with all the Miss Madison history. And that's
Today, the future is brighter than ever for the Miss Madison Oh Boy Oberto team and their fans. The marriage of the Miss Madison with the Oh Boy Oberto brand has been most excellent.
Our new campaign and theme is a taste for excellence. So it's about being most excellent.
And there's the Oh Boy Oberto and that boat. But look at the speed on the outside. Steve Davis got so much speed, Bill. Steve Davis may come off the corners a little bit, but you can't compare the shoot speed with these two.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see that the boat winning came actually before the most excellent campaign. And I like to think that what they've done is help inspire that competitive edge so they can go after people. It's all about competing.
We all have got great big egos. Anybody tells you we don't, we're lying to you. You don't do this for the fun of it, it's because a lot of work.
It's bigger than selling beef jerky, bigger than racing boats. It's a philosophy of winning in everything you do. It's an attitude of competition that plays out during a glorious summer that starts on the Ohio River and culminates halfway around the world in the Persian Gulf. And it definitely is most excellent. It's no cheap sport. Boats can cost upwards of $500,000, and fielding a team for a full season can run as high. Every part is custom made, and it can take months or years to build them. The power plant for these bad boys is a turbine engine, the same engines used in Chinook helicopters in another era during the Vietnam War. Fueled by jet fuel, these guys have plenty of power, between 2,600 and 3,000 horsepower. The boat itself is pushed forward by a propeller, a 3-blade piece of stainless steel making as many as 15,000 revolutions per minute. Teams do everything they can to keep their drivers safe. With the hydros going speeds over 150 miles per hour, the safety of the driver is something that's taken very seriously these days. And the boats are built with some pretty advanced technology, especially in the cockpit, where these drivers take control.
It's got Kevlar, carbon fiber, fiberglass layups, mandated by the APBA rules. It's pretty much bulletproof.
Over the years, these boats have come a long way, and starting in 1989, they required a full capsule for all unlimited boats, and that provides a little extra safety for these drivers.
The sport's evolved in the last 25 years, leaps and bounds safety-wise.
The cockpits come complete with glass out of an F-16 fighter jet, a 5-point harness to keep the drivers strapped in, a roll cage, oxygen to keep them breathing, even escape hatches in case the worst does happen.
He has an escape hatch in the bottom. If the boat goes upside down, he can get out of the boat through the bottom.
Alan Ravel is the crew chief of the Lucas Oil Presents Miss Everett hydroplane. He's been involved in the sport for a long time and says these safety upgrades can save a life.
Mike Ekert blew the Old Boy Oberto over and completely destroyed the boat. He walked away with bruises. I mean, the boat was completely destroyed. The cockpit saved his life.
Triumph and tragedy in unlimited hydroplane racing. It's sometimes hard to separate one from the other. The crew of the U-88 Degree men understands this perhaps better than any other team. Formed in 1988, USA Racing Partners found quick success and established themselves as a serious contender in unlimited racing. But it all nearly came to an end with the tragic passing of founder Kim Gregory in 2008. Now, in 2012, after a 4-year hiatus, the Gregorys and USA Racing Partners have returned with an intensity and focus that will make them legitimate contenders for the Air National Guard H1 Series Championship.
We're all very competitive people. Starts with my mom. You know, she might be the smallest of us, but she's the most competitive of us. It goes back to my father's legacy. This was his passion, something he just absolutely loved. So, you know, that obviously, you know, rubbed off on us, and we wanted to keep that going. And when we were approached by Degree Men, it was just, everything came together. It was a fantastic sponsor.
It's a great brand fit for Degree. Degree is all about adrenaline-filled moments, and there's nothing more adrenaline-filled than unlimited hydroplane racing.
One of those adrenaline-filled moments occurred in Detroit just 1 week prior to the Tri-Cities race.
It was lap 2. He hit a very large swell going into the corner. Did come in nose first and kind of cartwheeled a little bit. We lost all the wings, all the cowlings. We lost the motor. But outside of that, Scott came out. He didn't even get wet, which was awesome. The boat came through fairly well, and the guys did a fantastic job getting it ready for this week.
Absolutely. I mean, the Gregorys and USA Racing, consummate professionals. As you know, there was a lot of work that had to be done on the boat in a very short period of time, and now you see it out here. You know, it looks like it just came out of the box. So it's a testament to a lot of hard work to get it back in racing condition in a very short period of time. So I'm very proud of the team, and now Degree's on the boat out there going around the course. The boat is representing Degree and the brand very well.
We're hopeful that we will continue the relationship we have with Degree and Unilever. We would like to start a new boat here, whether that's 2012 or in 2013. We would like to get back to where we were kind of in 2000, where we had 2 boats, 2 trucks, all the spare equipment, and just continue to grow our team and help grow the sport as well.
The hydroplanes appear to be flying on the water, sometimes hitting in excess of 170 miles an hour. And with speed comes danger.
We do everything we can to ensure those drivers' safety. It's their lives.
And that starts with the cockpits. Drivers are secured with F-16 fighter canopies and even wear oxygen masks. If the boat flips, rescuers know how to get the driver out quickly.
We have probably one of the best rescue teams in the business out there on the water with all the equipment they need in case one of the boats were to happen to get in an accident or go over.
That's why there are also 4 rescue sleds on the river. One of them was made by hand by Columbia Basin College students and teachers. It took the CBC welding class about 1,500 hours to put together Miss Hawk.
It's been about a 1.5 to 2 year project we've been working on. Some of their drafting students went in with one of our old sleds and drafted up plans for a new sled.
And Cole says the idea of a rescue sled actually started in the Tri-Cities.
Actually, I think Tri-Cities innovated the sled. It all started here in Tri-Cities, and I saw the new one last night that the local college built. That was awesome.
While he's grateful for the help, he says he hopes he doesn't have to see it in action.
The less we see of those guys, it means the boats are healthy, the drivers are safe, and we've had a good race.
Today, competition is fierce among unlimited hydroplane racing teams. More competitive boats means teams are looking for that elusive edge that will bring them more horsepower, higher speeds, and faster lap times. And it's a simple fact that all of that costs more money. In today's Air National Guard H1 Unlimited Hydroplane Series, there is one member on each team that is truly indispensable, and that is the sponsor.
You may think of mechanical things that make the boat go, but it's more about the funding so you can actually afford the extra little things to make the boat go faster. So having sponsors like Rob Graham or Graham Trucking are very important to us.
While a driver's skill and team's equipment are paramount to success, the resources to win are heavily dependent upon sponsorship in this multi-million-dollar sport. Graham Trucking has been proud to affiliate their name with hydroplane racing since the 1990s. While the world's fastest race boats are an attention-getter for the Seattle-based company, owner Rob Graham wants his customers and employees to associate their company with the same components that make winning hydro teams. Speed is key. Accuracy is critical. Equipment needs to be maintained for maximum performance. Safety is always top of mind.
It's not just important to our team that our boat runs well, it's important for the whole, for H1 and Air National Guard that sponsors the whole series that we all run well, and I think we've done that well.
Rob Graham agrees. He's watched Porter foster a competitive program with hard work and perseverance, the same way he built Graham Trucking. From one truck and one driver 30 years ago to 80 power units and one of the largest super chassis fleets in the Northwest today. And U5 driver Jimmy Shane is meeting his expectations. This season, the former three-time limited class national high point champion slides into the cockpit of the U5 Graham Trucking for his first full-time unlimited ride, and the team has welcomed him with open arms.
It's one big family, and that's one thing I love about it. The adrenaline, the speed. We're all adrenaline junkies here, and this is a very, very adrenaline-driven sport. It's very unique, and I love to be a part of it.
Our team's having a blast this year working together, and again, they're all very knowledgeable about the boat and the mechanics of it, but at the same time, part of the component that we have is a cohesive team. You get a great driver in there, great equipment, and you're going to do great things.
And that great thing certainly didn't take long, with Shane capturing the Lamb-Weston Columbia Cup in Tri-Cities in only his third full-time unlimited start.
But it looks like the Graham Trucking and Jimmy Shane just nipped J. Michael Kelly.
The U5 Graham Trucking team certainly has reason to be optimistic for the future, not only for their team, but the sport as a whole. If you're out watching the hydroplane races, you may notice one heat with some very different boats than the rest. That's because they're vintage hydros from the 1950s. And in many ways, they're very different from the modern craft racing this weekend.
We're running piston-powered engines. Piston engines from World War II airplanes. The turbine boats are running, obviously, a turbine engine from a Vietnam-era helicopter. These boats are built out of wood. The modern boats are built out of a real high-tech aircraft composite.
Hydros have come a long way in the past several decades, not just in terms of speed, but also in terms of safety. In these boats, the cockpit is completely open on this vintage hydro, leaving the pilot exposed.
These boats are, to be real honest, at full speed, they're very dangerous, and we lost a number of drivers when these boats ran at full speed. We don't do that. The boat behind me is capable easily of 160, 170 miles an hour. We will probably keep it around 120 when we do our exhibitions.
But above all, it's about the classic sound of the piston engines.
We fire these up, you'll see people run into the shore to see what's that noise. The sound of a Vintage Unlimited is something that's totally unique in all the world. It is a big, throaty roar of an engine, and if you grew up with it, if you came down to the waterfallies in the 60s or 70s, that's the sound that you think of when you think of hydros.
The H1 Unlimited Series has existed since 1946, but each year, despite the sport's longevity, the questions get asked. Where is the sport headed?
We're trying to do things to grow this sport, make it more popular and get more people out, and you have to do things, you have to innovate.
Innovate how? Well, start with biofuels, a renewable energy that the U6 will be running on at the Columbia Cup. There's also new GPS technology and smaller and innovative engines.
You've got to be current and relevant. Turbines are fast, cool, present. People are used to jets, so I think they relate to that. The pistons were good for the people who are in their 50s and 60s, but we got to be focusing on that new audience too. From a demographic standpoint, it's that 18 to 44-year-old audience that's really the huge consumer of our sponsors' products.
It always comes down to money and sponsors. This year, the Air National Guard sponsors the series. Degree and others return as nationwide sponsors. And it is the Lamb-Weston Columbia Cup.
When you talk about sponsorship, we're the best buy in any sport. We're the best buy you're going to get anywhere. And as people start to recognize that, there isn't a better place to spend their dollar to get their name out.
The series is also headed overseas. The Oryx Cup has been run in Qatar since 2009.
It's just part of trying to take this sport to the next level. You know, we're going overseas every year over to the Middle East. We're looking ahead at perhaps China in late this year, early next year. And as we grow, we've really got to do things that make us more marketable around the world.